Welcome back to my Minecraft story. I'm a Loophole. Last time we took a peek at the Simpsons build and just sort of my induction into the server, but this time we'll be headed to Halloween, one of my favorite holidays, so I knew I really wanted to get involved in this build challenge. And even though I didn't have a lot of materials, I did have some. So for my first build, well, let me explain how, find the portal first, how build challenges work. So what happens is that there's a thread that goes up stating the rules of what may be built, and you then apply to build something, and they either accept it or reject it or say, hey, could you tweak this a little bit? We'd be interested in having it, but not as it is. So I applied to one other group build that we'll see next, but the first one that I completed was one that I wasn't quite sure if it would work. And here are the people that helped me: O'Shannon, KR Kirst, or KRSD, Ramrod Willie, and Rogue CRX. Those people are still around. Haven't seen first and fourth one in a while though, but it was something that wasn't particularly Halloween-y, but it always stuck out to me as freaking scary. It's the Toaster's Dream sequence from the Brave Little Toaster. So I dressed up in I made my own little skin as the master, or the kid from the movie. I wanted to make the kitchen more fancy, but this is what I could rope together. I was running pretty short on time, and at the beginning of it, the kid makes a face in the toaster. So during the show, I was bent over here as the kid, like this, and Fraser didn't quite get it, so he came over and walked over, and I was like, "Larg!" and he got it though. So then, to figure out how to get to the next part, I put up the sign. So you're like, oh, what's on the sign? So you walk over here and you see what's on it, and it says make toast. And so the logical thing to do is to turn to the toaster and hit the button. But what he did is he went back over to the front and pushed the button. But instead what you're supposed to do is to simply just stand here and hit the button, which drops you down to the fireman clown. This is sort of the first, you could call it a sprite, but actually took me a while to get the materials for it. This is back when you had to find wild sheep to get the wool, and to really sort of plan this out. But the thing that actually took me the most time, yeah, you got him saying run for those of you who've seen it, but the thing that took me the most time was to carve out all of this. This was back when we didn't have enchantments, and this was back when I didn't particularly have that many diamonds. But I knew I wanted it underground. I knew I wanted that drop. So I really did bite off more than I could chew here. Luckily, a lot of those helpers you see on the sign helped me with the wool and the digging. The next part of the sequence is a flood of water comes down, and that turns into forks. So I just kind of threw some water around and made different kinds of forks, you know, coming down, stabbing. And then the final part of the dream is that Toaster finds himself hanging above a bathtub, which of course, since he's a toaster, would short circuit him. Apologize for my lack of proper Minecraft water skills. And so to get out, you drop down, and yeah, so that was my first build. I ended up being just really proud that I was able to pull all that off, and still do well in school, I might add. As just a note, Fraser, when he's touring, generally has god powers, so he was able to just teleport up that ladder. But I will see you guys on the flip side for my other Halloween build. And we're back. As you can see from the sign, we're going into the magical Halloween tree from Nightmare Before Christmas, which is probably my favorite movie. When I found out people were doing this, I got super excited. Unfortunately, originally it seemed like everyone had claimed the big parts, you know. So there's the town hall. We'll take a peek. You know, this is where the meeting about Christmas happens. And then there's Jack's house, which, as you can see, it's sort of bare. This is the tree. Everybody scream! As you can see, it's a little bare. What ended up happening was that a lot of people ended up sort of, not being able to follow through. So what happened was, I even made some of those facade buildings at the last minute, just so it hides the non-Halloweeny grass out there. But what that ended up meaning was that it wasn't as good as it could have been. I'll say that right now. It just could have been a lot better, a lot more magical, but I still like what we pulled off, but I don't know. But in any case, since people started crapping out, excuse my language, I got to take over Finkelstein's tower. Finkelstein is sort of the Dr. Frankenstein character, in that he makes Sally and makes the reindeer for Jack. And I tried to get as accurate as possible. This is sort of the point where I started leaning into recreation builds. So I went and watched all the footage I could find and tried to recreate the pathway up to it. And here is where the band is when Sally escapes. And then here's like the area she falls on, and of course I did a lot of the replacing of stone, so that other people did too, so that it's sort of more barren and Halloweeny. The most difficult thing for me though was making the tower itself. You may notice that it's sort of wonky, and that you're probably thinking that I should have used plots to make a more spheroid shape, but after looking at it, I wanted to make it wonky and asymmetrical and at a weird axis. Thanks to friends Megens and Cursed. That obsidian was a pain for me to get as well. So sort of artist regret here of it not really looking as well as it could have. So it got done. You see that we have a few spare trees in the background too, but like, I'm happy with it. This is what I started working on first. As far as timeline goes, I completed the Toaster Clown first, but I started working on this first. But I did also manage to fit in a lot of the references. Here's the cabinet where Sally's making Finkelstein's dinner, and the cauldron, and even got the fire underneath, and you got Frog's Breath and Worm's Wort, and over here got the deadly nightshade that she slips him to make him pass out. And I tried so hard by watching the video to figure out in the scene where Jack comes to visit Finkelstein, where he would be on the rails, and figure out the spacing. But I ended up just having to make a circular ramp up. There's a shortcut up and down, but we'll go ahead and walk it anyway. So yeah, as you can see, it's sort of seems sort of jumbled, but that's sort of my style, to like bite off more than I can chew, and then having it end up being a little jumbled, so not quite what I imagined, but still shooting for it. This is Sally's room where she gets locked in, so there's no way to get out. So once you close it from out here, a person trapped in there. I actually got to do that to Fraser, which was pretty nice. And then here's her sort of minimalist here. Here's the desk where she makes all the presents for Jack, and Fraser didn't get this one at all, but it's oh, can I not open it? Oh no. Well, in any case, I'll show a little picture of it here. It was supposed to be the butterfly that he releases from the bottle. That Fraser was really bad at telling what sort of, I guess, chest art, if you could call it that, is, and he thought it was a bat. And then we also have here this little secret contraption, which is where she kept her supplies. So that first time I got to use piston works it well. And of course, as she looks out her window, she sees Jack's house, appropriately enough. And then over here, we have Finkelstein's lab, which has a little nifty sliding door. Again, yeah, the whole layout isn't accurate, but it was just sort of what I could fit in. And this is where I sort of, just sort of went, how can I make laboratory-looking things by using what I've got. So this is the head switcher that he uses to like try out different heads on the replacement he makes for Sally. This is the window. This is sort of knobs and wiring, and got a little bit of lava too, and even got this table with glowstone in it. And of course, what scientists would need, a crafting table. And over here, we got the reindeer plans, which Igor lays out. Got the bones and. So yeah, this is sort of completely lost on Fraser, which was a little bit of a hard hit for me. But since he's touring so much, and we were at the end of the night as sort of a finale. It was sort of the first time. Oh yeah, iron blocks, pretty hard for me to get as well. It was sort of the first time I realized that if you're going to go overboard for the build challenge, not everything that you put into it is going to be seen. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't put a lot into it anyway. So the recreationist in me was sort of disappointed, but I was still glad that they enjoyed it and almost got all of the references. Anyway, this makes a nice little segment, so I will see you guys next time for the next portion of my Minecraft story. See you then.